What's up everyone, welcome back to a brand new video. During the last part, we got into a bit of Dragon Ball Super. Originally the story was supposed to be 2 parts, but as you can tell by today's video, it ended up needing to be 3 parts, because today, we're going to be covering the Tournament of Power and beyond. We actually needed a little bit more time to cover the scenarios, so that's why we're here right now. Obviously, if you haven't checked them out already, I'd recommend checking out the previous parts because, well, you kind of need the backstory if you want to understand anything that's going on here, so I'll link one above and be sure to check it out if you haven't already. Also, let's set a like goal of 3,000 likes. There's not going to be another part to the series, but getting that like goal really helps out the channel and lets me know that you guys want to see more videos like this one. Anyways, let's pick up from here and finally finish this story. Right off the bat, there's a ton of changes with the Tournament of Power. Besides the changes to the team that we covered in the last part, there's another thing that I do want to note. Piccolo is the leader here, like I discussed before. Now, this might not seem like a major change, but it's actually going to have some pretty big implications. Now, it's not to say Gohan was an ineffective leader, but no one followed his plans. I feel like with Piccolo being the team leader here, people will actually be more inclined to follow him. Why is that? Well, he has a better history of making great decisions. I mean, look at all the past arcs in this series alone. But on top of that, Piccolo is a little bit more intimidating, and I'm not just talking in terms of power, I just mean his demeanor. People aren't really going to want to go against him. Not to say he's scary, but he's kind of scary. But he does have some pretty good plans. Mainly, he wants everyone to fight together, which is a pretty obvious one. As for the humans, he wants them to focus on staying in the ring. No offense to them, but they are the weakest of the group and they might have trouble with this. They could form whatever groups they want, and they decide to go with Ten and Yamcha, and then Roshi and Krillin. Goten and Trunks also have to always remain by his side. They're strong, but he wants to keep them in check. I mean, they obviously aren't as practiced as everyone else on the team. They don't have that many experience in fights, especially one like this. Of course, they train a lot more than they did in the original story, hence why they're here in the first place. But he does still want to keep an eye on them, and if they're not with him, at least be beside Goku, Vegeta, or Gohan. Reluctantly, they do agree to this. And Piccolo has one more idea. Well, actually 2. They need to figure out ways for people to stay in the ring, in case people get knocked out. There's no rules of pulling people back in the ring, so Piccolo does get some ideas. For one, he's going to use his ability to stretch his arms and such. I don't get why he never used this originally, but with him as a leader here, hopefully that thought crosses his mind. He realizes, hey, maybe I should use this overpowered ability to actually help myself in this tournament. He's not going to make that stupid decision here. Or a better way to phrase it is that there won't be a lack of a good decision. Also, he does something that sounds kind of goofy to everyone else, but when you think about it, it might actually be pretty genius. So, Namekians can change their size and such, as well as stretching themselves out. And if they can grow bigger, who's to say they can't grow smaller? What, is he gonna be like Ant-Man and crawl up people's butts and then expand? No. Well, maybe, that might be a good idea, but that would kill people so he'd get eliminated. No. He splits himself into 2, except one of the clones is very weak. The main Piccolo keeps most of the power. This other Piccolo is there for another good reason. He begins shrinking down. It's your boy Tiny Piccolo. What the hell is a Tiny Piccolo gonna do? Well, this is gonna help Piccolo stay in the ring. And mainly the others too. There'll always be a Piccolo lurking about. Since they do this before the tournament, none of the other teams will know about it. But there's always going to be a Piccolo lurking about, just to make sure no one falls out of the ring. And this tiny Piccolo can stretch his arm out if anyone falls out, grabbing them and pulling them back in. There's also another person that can help with this. Besides the main Piccolo, obviously, there's Yamcha. He could use a spirit ball. It's a very maneuverable technique, and it's probably something that's easy to replicate, but this is actually his idea. And people decide that they're going to copy him. If someone falls out of the ring, they could just create a spirit ball or something like it to knock someone else back into the ring. Damn, it feels good to be recognized for once. He's just as happy as Tiny Piccolo. And now, the tournament itself finally begins. So at first, it becomes pretty clear that Universe 7 is going to be ahead of the other universes. Even though they don't have Frieza or the androids on the team, I mean, consider the team that they have right now. The humans are the same. Obviously, we do have Yamcha there too. Of course, he's a weaker option than Frieza, but he's still a good option. And we have Goten and Trunks in place of the androids. In terms of strength, they are decently powerful. It's just that they're not as practiced as the other fighters. Another downside is that Gohan might be weaker than his canon self. Without the access to Ultimate that he had originally, even with his insane training here, he probably still would be a bit behind where he was normally. Not by a significant amount, but enough to note. Although, these disadvantages are nullified by the advantages that they have. Look at Piccolo, Goku, and Vegeta. They're so much stronger than normal. I mean, Piccolo's obvious, I don't need to cover that, that's what the last 2 parts are for. As for Vegeta, well, he's already got access to Blue Evolution. So it's pretty clear that he's stronger than normal. And as for Goku, it's not like he has Blue Evolution or anything. But Blue Kaioken is where he really gets to show off. As I mentioned before, he's been training a bit with Piccolo to work on Kaioken more and more. This helps him get a better grasp on it, using it more efficiently, and being able to use it at higher levels. Obviously, it's still going to have some downsides. It's going to be pretty draining at high levels, and it's going to tear his body apart. But with the better practice and the tips that he got from Piccolo, he's able to pull it off at higher levels, and at the lower levels, he's able to use it more efficiently. He's definitely going to want to test that out in this tournament. It's not like he's going to be at Blue Kaioken the whole time, but if he goes into times 20 or something, it's not going to be incredibly draining. And he did use it pretty efficiently in the normal version of the story, so imagine what he could do here with it. We'll be seeing more of that later on. Speaking of transformations, Piccolo decides that he's going to start fighting a Namekian god. It's a nice balance for him. It gives him a boost in power, while not being too draining in stamina like his blue form would be, or any Kaioken variant. And obviously he can stack Kaioken on top of it if he does need to. But they actually do have a better idea. Goku and Vegeta are going to be utilizing their Super Saiyan God forms as well. Of course, they'd probably pace themselves by using Super Saiyan first. But eventually they will need to pull out Super Saiyan God, although they have something really nice that they could utilize, the God to Blue switch. This allows them to attack with all the power of Super Saiyan Blue, while having that great efficiency that Super Saiyan God would have since it's a lower level, and Piccolo would probably have access to something similar. So far in the series, I'm treating the Namekian God forms just like the Super Saiyan God forms. It's supposed to be an invariant of that. And they're able to use this very efficiently. Universe 7 gets a lot of eliminations at first, although at one point, Goku's gonna decide to try and fight Jiren. This is where things begin to slow down for him, or I guess speed up, because now he's in the most intense fight he's ever been in. He begins fighting this guy, and Jiren's way stronger than he ever could have expected. He knew that this guy had an insane presence, but not like this. Goku has to power up into Blue Kaioken even. And no, not just Kaioken times 20. He buffs it up to times 50. Jiren notices this great increase in power. Pretty impressed, but still not really that moved. He's not going to be fazed by just Kaioken times 50 on top of Blue. Alright, well if that's not going to faze him, Goku decides to try something else. He basically turned into a glowing ball of red and blue energy, mixing them together creating a brilliant purplish light. He screams, with it bellowing through the entire arena. Times 100. Everyone hears this and turns over, seeing this brilliant flash of light. With his higher power in general, on top of the obvious fact that he's using Blue Kaioken times 100 right now, he's actually able to do some damage to Jiren. Not a lot, but before it's basically like fighting a brick wall. Now, he's pushing Jiren back, and Jiren's attacks aren't hurting him anymore. Well, Kaioken's kind of hurting him, but Goku's able to defend more effectively. He's a lot faster now, and his attacks are more potent, but still, this isn't enough. Until someone else joins in fighting alongside him. It's Piccolo. He tells Goku he has a plan, communicating telepathically, saying just to hold Jiren off for a bit. Piccolo briefly fights Jiren so he doesn't get suspicious. But then Piccolo backs off, and Goku wonders what he's gonna do, and Piccolo tries something very risky. He goes to Blue Kaioken. This isn't the risky thing, but he maxes it out to such a high level that he doesn't even know what multiplier it's at. He just screams, Maximum Blue Kaioken. Similar to Goku, he creates that same bright light. It's at the point where Piccolo just becomes a blur. No one can even see him or what he's doing. He tries hitting Jiren with attacks, using a hit and run strategy. And at the same time, this is meant to be a distraction. Above the ring, there's a glowing ball of energy. One that's very small right now, but it begins charging. And no one notices it yet because they're too distracted by this fight. Although, the rest of Universe 7 notices this, and Piccolo talks with them telepathically. Start lending their energy. He's using a spirit bomb. Wow, Goku's impressed. He would have never thought Piccolo would have learned this technique, but it kind of makes sense given his training with King Kai. It's just weird to see him use this. Everyone begins lending their energy, and just to make sure everyone keeps being distracted, they power up even more. Piccolo's at such a high level right now. Kaioken is so high. His body's being torn apart, but the multiplier is insane. On top of Blue, he's probably getting thousands of times stronger. Goku has to turn off Blue Kaioken times 100, just going into regular Blue right now. But he lends as much energy as he can. The Spirit Bomb is finally charged. A massive ball of energy hovers above the arena, and it's launched right towards Jiren. Obviously, at some point, Jiren's gonna notice this. I mean, it's a giant ball of energy in the sky. But he's not too phased until it gets closer and closer, and then he senses the immense power of it. This might actually be a challenge, and it's being pushed by Piccolo too, who's still using maximum Blue Kaioken. Jiren tries pushing it back, but he's attacked by Goku at the same time, and then even Vegeta and Gohan. The Spirit Bomb gets pushed further and further, with Goku then jumping up to help Piccolo push it. Jiren has to show off more strength, and Piccolo realizes he's not going to be able to push it much further, but he has another idea. He detonates it. It's risky, very risky, and it might even kill some people in the ring, but this is their best shot at eliminating Jiren. Jiren doesn't expect it either. The bomb is literally right in front of his face at this point, and then it explodes with such power that it actually knocks him all the way back through the rocks outside of the ring too. And just to make sure he's knocked out for good, Piccolo stretches out both of his arms, grabbing on different parts of the ring, slingshotting himself towards Jiren. He stretches his leg out as far as it can go, trying to kick Jiren down, and Jiren grabs onto Piccolo's leg. He'll take Piccolo out with him, but Piccolo just simply cuts his leg off. And now, Jiren's holding onto his severed leg that he can't even do anything with. He falls out of the ring, and Jiren's been defeated. Of course, it's a bit anticlimactic. I mean, he got knocked out by a shockwave. But at the same time, it worked. Piccolo knew how risky this would be, and they trust his judgment. Goku would have loved to fight Jiren, but maybe they would have to wait for some other time. Goku and Piccolo are both very out of stamina right now. They do need to rest a bit, but they're in better shape than normally. Or at least Goku is, because he didn't just use Ultra Instinct and use all of his power. As for Piccolo, yeah, he's gonna need a bit of a rest, but that's fine. Vegeta's gonna pick up the slack for them. Especially because now, he's gonna be fighting Toppo. Although, it's not gonna be as great as usual because he already has Blue Evolution and he's probably ahead of himself in terms of power in comparison to normally. And without Toppo going into his God of Destruction mode, that actually makes this fight kinda easy. Toppo does contemplate it, but before he can even do it, Vegeta ends up knocking him out of the ring because he feels like this is a waste of time. He doesn't know about this God of Destruction mode, so it's not like he can coax it out of him. And there goes two of the strongest fighters so far. Sure, there are still some strong people in the ring, such as the Universe 6 Saiyans, or even Hit from Universe 6 too. Hit is the hardest to fight at the moment, with Goku and Vegeta also fighting the Universe 6 Saiyans. And at some point, Kale's rage shows as she goes into her Berserk form, and this is actually a problem. She keeps getting stronger and stronger as she continues to fight. Goku and Piccolo are pretty much out of energy at this point. If they had their full strength, they'd be able to do this pretty easily, but after the fights with Jiren and Hit, it's a bit tough, so Vegeta has to try and fight her. At least just for the moment, while Goku begins charging up an attack. He asks Goten and Gohan for their help, and they do the same. Vegeta is able to hold off Kale pretty easily, letting Goku charge his attack. He can tell that Goku has a worthwhile plan, or whatever it is. Kale continuously tries to attack Goku, but Vegeta is able to stop her, and then eventually, Goku's attack is charged up. He shouts, launching a Kamehameha alongside Gohan and Goten. A family Kamehameha is sent in the direction of Kale, knocking her clean out of the ring. The beam is also so massive that they maneuver it around the ring, basically sweeping up everything. They tell everyone to duck or jump above it, with the rest of their teammates getting warned. And there's still a few people that are remaining in the ring, but this is what knocks them out. The family Kamehameha sweeps around, cleaning house and ensuring victory for Universe 7. Piccolo ends up being the victor, with Tiny Piccolo then jumping out too. He was able to keep a lot of the humans in the ring. Universe 7 actually had no eliminations, thanks to Tiny Piccolo and Yamcha. Their strategy worked perfectly, way better than they thought even. And with Piccolo being the MVP, well, he has a pretty obvious wish. He's gonna wish for the universes to be restored. It's the most logical one, and with Zeno there watching, he feels like this might be a test if anything. This might also just piss Zeno off if this isn't what he wanted, but Piccolo takes the risk anyways, and it turns out he was right. All of the other universes are brought back, and the Tournament of Power concludes with a peaceful ending. Sadly, there's not gonna be a Broly movie because there's no Frieza. As for Moro, there are gonna be some changes here, but it's gonna be very slight. A lot of the arc goes normally at first, with Goku and Vegeta going to Namek, and even with their greater power, their fights go pretty much the same. The changes begin to take place on Earth though. Once Moro's crew attacks Earth, this is where things get really bad for Moro. 7-3 and everyone else are defeated relatively easily. I mean, it's Gohan and Piccolo there. They're gonna have an easy job doing this. Of course, Moro is still out in space going stronger and stronger. But now, he's not gonna have 7-3 as a backup plan. He hears news of this, and he's angered. He would attack Earth right now, but Goku and Vegeta are off somewhere else training. He'd rather go when they're there so he can eat their energy. And also there's something else to note here. Goku never got Ultra Instinct in the tournament, so what's he gonna do here? I feel like Mayris might fly the idea by him, and Goku could start training with it. It's gonna be very tough for him to access this if at all, especially since he doesn't know how it feels since he's never used that before. So he might not actually get Ultra Instinct in this arc. As for Vegeta, he has a good idea though. He ends up going to Yardrat to learn Spirit Fission. And after the time passes, eventually Moro arrives on Earth. Thankfully with Piccolo and Gohan there, they are able to hold him off. I mean, Piccolo's incredibly strong as we've seen so far. Eventually Goku does arrive. He's grown a lot stronger thanks to his training with Mayris, even if he doesn't have Ultra Instinct yet. He and Piccolo work together to fend off Moro, and eventually someone else joins in. Vegeta teleports in, using Blue Evolution and attacking Moro using Force Spirit Fission. Moro suddenly feels drained. What the hell's happening to him? And this time he doesn't have 7-3 as a backup plan. He continues getting his energy drained from Vegeta, with Vegeta returning all the energy elsewhere across the universe. Moro even returns to his old state completely. What the hell? And now he's wide open. Just to make sure he doesn't absorb any energy, Gohan forms a galactic donut, closing Moro's mouth shut. Together, Goku, Vegeta, and Piccolo show off their combined strength and kill Moro. Everything turned out pretty well. And I could go into the Granola arc, but first of all, that's more focused around Goku and Vegeta. Also, I'm recording this way earlier than you probably think. Right now, it's actually January 30th. I know this video is like 3 months away, so the arc's not actually over yet, and I don't think it's worth it to cover it right now. Even if it were finished, it's not really focused around Namekians besides Monaido, I guess. Who knows though? If that changes, you might see a part 4, probably not though. So, that means this is the end for now. What did you guys think about this series? And would you like to see anything like this in the future? Leave any thoughts and suggestions in the comments below. I'll be sure to check them out to see what you guys think. As always, if you like the video, be sure to drop a like. It lets me know that you guys want to see more videos like this, and it really helps out the channel. If you haven't already, why not subscribe? As well as hitting the bell icon to be notified about any future uploads on my channel, including any other uploads like this one or just other videos in general. Anyways, thank you all for watching, thanks for supporting this entire scenario all the way through, and I'll see you all in my next video.